D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So I just finished the latest episode of the Orville. I'm a little behind today and everything. And I have to tell you, it was a pretty good episode. It had to deal with time travel. I personally don't like time travel. I feel like, I don't know, the stories are always the same. It's just like, don't wreck with the timeline and everything. I'm like, yeah, isn't that the thing about time travel? Everybody's all like, don't mess with the timeline kind of thing. But this was a good episode and it featured Gordon, which is my favorite character. I like him a lot. And then it also brought back a character from season 2. We got to meet her. It's Laura Higgins. I don't know what episode it was. And real quick, for those of you that are like, you need to go back and watch the last 2 seasons because you forgot this, and this. Listen, I'm not going to go watch the other 2 seasons. I don't have time for that. Okay. I just remember what I remember. And if you don't like that, I'm sorry. You're going to have to get over it. Okay. Because I've already said I don't have time. So stop it. You stop that right now. But they brought back Laura Higgins. And I remember in the second season, it might've been the first season. I don't remember, but there was a time capsule and they mentioned it in this one, but he had a cell phone and she put her cell phone in there. And then Gordon was going to the simulator and he was like, having a whole life with her. It was really weird. Gordon's a little creepo. He's a little creepo in this one too, because I have thoughts on that. And then they were like, hey, this woman existed, but she doesn't exist now, dude. So you're being weird and everything. I think, didn't he do something with cigarettes? Like, didn't he find a cigarette in the time capsule and he like got all addicted to cigarettes and everything? You're all like, what's going on here? All right. So, so there's that and everything. And they brought back that character in a decent way and everything. And like I said, this episode was better than last week's episode. I went back and watched that a couple of times and I realized I don't like that episode, even though my review is like talking like good things about it, but whatever, it's fine. This episode was pretty good. They're featuring Burke a lot in this season, and I'm all like, listen, I get it, she's the new ensign or whatnot, and she's hot. And I guess Seth MacFarlane is dating her, but maybe we need to bring it back a little bit with Burke, okay? Because you guys are giving her a lot of attention, and we all know why. Anyways, so now that I've said all that, I'll get started on this breakdown and everything. I'll give you my opinion. But before I get started, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we always get shoved to the back of the line. So please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. So it starts off with a party at Gordon's quarters. And I just want to say right now, Gordon in this specific instance is that asshole. You ever go to a party or like a bonfire and you get that one asshole that busts out their guitar and starts singing and you're all like, I am not interested in this at all, my dude. And they Gordon stops after one song, and very beautiful singing voice, beautiful. Like if that is his singing voice, I don't know anything about the actor as far as his singing talents, his musical talents and everything, but if that is his whoever's singing voice this is, beautiful singing voice. And everything, and they're like, oh, another one. He's like, no, my fingers are full of beer and everything, and then he's like, I love being the host or whatever. I can't remember exactly all the words he says and everything. In a nice party and everything, but nobody likes that asshole that busts out the guitar. And you're like, all right, calm it down, Ed Sheeran. We got it. You can sing and play the guitar. Big whoop-de-doo, okay? Sorry I didn't take lessons, okay, when I was younger, so I could be that dude. Anyways. So then Isaac goes to talk to Burke, and she's just not having it. She doesn't want anything to do with Isaac. Isaac is obviously not getting the clue. Here's this little fish dude right here. I really like that fish dude. I like that species. I hope they play into them more. I wish they had more aliens. I really do. Anyways, I mean, they have all these background aliens, which is fun. But yeah, anyways, okay, besides the point. I complained about it last episode, I think. So she's just not having it. He's like, why will Buck not talk to me and everything? He's like, you got to make small talk. Ask her about her hair, what kind of hobby she has. Does she like sports? who's her favorite American Idol contestant. I don't remember all the questions he asked. He's like, I will try that and everything. So she's drinking and she notices the iPhone from I'm just gonna say last season's from season 2. And is that a Jello square on that cup? I never noticed that and everything. Anyways, I should try that. Anyways, so she's like, hey, Gordon, what's this? He's like, oh, it's a cell phone from the 21st century or whatever, and it was in a time capsule, and that's Laura Higgins, and I love her like a big freaking weirdo. And so he's like, yeah, he's like, you want to take a selfie? And they smile and everything. Oh, I didn't get to smile. I'm gonna have to go back. This is gonna be my thumbnail, I've decided. So he's like, selfie, and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like you using now, like right now terms for the future. I don't like it. But anyways, so they've created this machine that will basically help with time travel, and he's like, we're supposed to meet for lunch and everything. By the way, Gordon, you could lay off the egg salad sandwiches, my dude, and maybe like, look at that. It's creasing because, just maybe, do a little more dancing like you did on that TikTok. Okay, friend. Anyways, so they he's like, can we send it in the future 3 months? He's like, yeah, and everything. So he's like, I'm so excited to eat that sandwich. I'm like, that's the thing about it is, why are you excited to eat a sandwich that's being teleported to the future when you can just make one in the replicator? Like, I don't get that process of thinking, but whatever. Gordon, that little cutie patootie, look at him with his red hair. So they're talking about the implications of this machine and everything, and they're talking to the Admiral, Jeff Daniels or whatever, and he's all like, hey guys, we need to get this someplace secure because people will want this shit. And if the Kalon get a hold of it, we are screwed and everything. And I'm like, yeah, you are. So then they, Ted Danson. What did I say before? Did I say Jeff Goldblum? Oh, that's so stupid. Anyways, so they're like, all right, there's going to be some people. Ted Danson. I love Ted Danson. Him and Whoopi should have stayed together. I liked them as a couple. Anyways, hey, I'm Whoopi. Anyways, so Kelly Hugh, Admiral, starts with an O, can't remember. Anyways, she's all like, we're not getting hails from the space station. He's like, all right, try them. And they're not getting hails either. So they come out of warp. And the space station is just demolished. It's demolished and everything. And they're like, Kalon are coming out of warp and everything. So they start attacking them and everything. And they're trying to beat them off and everything. But the Kalon are smart and they're winning. So they get them in the tractor beam and everything. And they're like, give us the machine. And they're like, no, we're going to destroy it and everything. So that ship gets destroyed and a piece of it hits the ship and everything. And Gordon is all like, I'll go destroy it. So he runs and grabs a phaser and he's pointing it at the thing. Well, they to get out of the tractor beam so they can get to a nebula and get away from the Kalon, they are going to overload their quantum drive, and that it should help. So when they do that, though, it sends out the little burst and it shoots Gordo back into the past. But they're able to get free and they warp over to this nebula and everything. I have no idea if Kelly Hugh, Admiral Lady, survived. I should look up. I should have the names of people on here, but I don't because I don't have time. If you can't hear my children, they are playing. My wife's home. They're not left alone. Calm down. Anyway, so they realize that he's been pushed back into time, and he was a pilot, and he died, as you can see. I read this whole obituary. It's very lovely. Like, not much is known before he moved to Pasadena, California. And I'm like, ew, California, gross. Anyways, so then they're sitting here talking, and they're like, we got to go back and get it, kind of thing. And yeah, so then they're like, we can do the same thing. So they warp back, but they're 10 years too late. Like he's been on Earth for 10 years. So they've used up all of their bromide. I don't remember what they used, and they need more. So they decide they're going to go down, but the best person to go down to extract the bromide, I'm just going to call it bromide because I don't fucking remember. And don't get on to me about it. You guys complain about like the tiny, tiny little things. And I'm like, listen, I understand being petty, but don't be too petty. It doesn't make you look good. Anyways, so Burke is going and she's not happy that Isaac is going, but she's like, whatever, I have to work beside him because, whatever reasons. But they use that technology that made him, this is the actor that plays Isaac when he's not in the robot suit. But if you remember last season, season 1, when they did the same thing, but they pretended to be Krill and they broke onto that ship with Talea on it and everything. They pretend to be, and he's like, this didn't work for us when we were pretending to be Krill or whatever. I'm like, that's a good callback. So then they go down to the earth and they land or whatnot. And these two are going to go get the bromide and the other two are going to go get Gordon. So Gordon is a pilot and everything. And he's working for this private company. And he's all like, she's like, hey, were you expecting guests? He's like, no, why? And he turns around and there they are. He's like, oh my God. He's like, you're here. He's like, I never expected to see you guys again. And they're like, we've come to take you home. And he's like, I got something to show you. So he's talking about this century or whatever. He talks about his license plate. He's like, the Orville was taken. So I had to get an Oville. He says, it sounds like a bad, a backup band or whatever. So he comes to his house, lovely home. Much better than I could afford. Dick. Anyways, sorry. I'm poor. I hate being poor. It's the worst. So he's like, hey, and he's like, this is my wife, Laura Higgins. And I was like, oh, look at you, Gordo, being a little fucking creep and everything. And this is our son, Edward. They named him Edward. And we're having a baby, another one and everything. So these two, they find the bromine. And she's all like, he's like, it's, whatever, 22 kilometers. She's like, that's a hike. We need a ride. So they find this little shop, the Iron Eagle. I wonder if that has a reference to anything. If it does, I don't remember what it was. So they go and it's a biker bar or whatnot. And she sits down. This guy's all like, hey, sweet thing. And she's all like, you want to let us borrow your bike? And she's like, is this your boyfriend? He's like, no, this is my brother. She's like, hey, you want us to borrow your bikes? And he's like, absolutely not. And she's like, I'll bet you what? Who's the strongest guy in there? They figure out who it is. And he's like, if my brother beats them in an arm wrestling contest, you let us have your bikes. And he's like, well, what do we get? And she's like, anything you want. And he's like, yeah, let's do this and everything. So he wrestles this big guy, lovely beard, and he's winning. And then he's all like, oh no, I'm losing. And then he beats him like hardcore. And then these two explain their meet cute. And she's basically like, I was singing in a club or whatnot, in a bar, and Gordo came in and was clapping the loudest and everything. And I usually dated douchebags before this, but now I'm dating this douchebag. And they make jokes and everything. But me, I just go, Gordon, this is creeper material. Like, you found this, you stalked this woman in the future, and now you're stalking her in real time, her real time. I'm like, it doesn't say good things about you. I just want to say that I love Gordon because he's kooky and fun and everything, but this is creeper material. I just want to say, like, I wouldn't have married him. Anyways, so like they said, she said you're from Boston. You must like the socks. And they're like, yeah, we love socks. They're good for being cold. And they're like, socks are important. And I'm like, you guys, you could have done some research, like in Star Trek, when they're like, in this timeline, so-and-so is president, and, waste management or some crap like that. And so they're trying to fix it and everything, and get the ship ready to jump to the future or whatnot. So she's all like, Bortus wants an update or whatnot. And he's like, I got a kink in my neck. She's like, let me do it. And he's like, no, I've done it. And she's like, have you ever had a Selayan do it? And he's like, no. And she's just like, and everything on his back, like barely touching. He's like, oh yeah, give it to me hard, Selayan princess. And she's like, better. And then they just start making out. I'm not sure if they smashed right here. If they did, unprofessional. This is unprofessional too. I'm telling you right now, stop doing that. Don't be naughty at work. Come on, guys. On your off time, be naughty. So they pull Gordon aside, and Gordon's basically like, I'm not going with you. I'm not doing it. And they're like, you are breaking the law. You were supposed to lay low. And he's all like, listen, I did lay low for 3 years. I was in a cabin in the woods in the middle of nowhere. And I got bored. I was killing animals with my phaser, which I guess is against the law in the future. I'm like, huh? But they're all like, is Seth MacFarlane got hair plugs? I feel like he has hair plugs. His hair looks so not real. Anyways, sorry. So he's like, no, I have a family. He's like, I'm staying and everything. And they're like, you're broken the law. You can't stay here. And he gets really sad. Like, I'm all like, oh, Gordon. I totally get it though. And everything. His wife, she's like, what's going on? He's like, you need to get out of my house. And he's like, he looks at her, he's like, we need to have a chat. And she's like, I know. I always knew. She's like, you always know that everything's going to be okay during the pandemic. They brought up the pandemic. And I'm all like, oh, Jesus. Yeah, I knew everything was going to be okay too, honey. I didn't need to be from the future to know. Anyways, so yeah, so she's cool with it. She's like cool with it and everything. No, me, I'd have been like, how did you know about me? Fucking weirdo. Anyways, so these two find where the best bromide concentrate is. It's in this house that's for sale. And this one's all like, you guys looking for a house? She's like, yepers, we're a new couple and everything. She's like, can we have a moment? So they set up the little drill, they drill in, and he's all like, he's like, what is your favorite color? And she's like, why are you doing this? He's like, I just want to get to know you and be friends. She's like, we're never going to be friends. All right. I'll work next to you because I have to. But other than that, I don't want to be your best friend. She's like, you don't know what you took away from me. Ashley wasn't just my best friend. She was the love of my life. And I was like, oh, she's a lesbian. Surprise. I'm all like, of course she is. She's like, and I never got the chance to tell her I loved her. And now I'll never know if she felt the same way. And I'm like, honey, if it's this show and it's the way this show is going, trust me, she felt the same way. But yeah, she's like, and you took that away from me. I'm like, Isaac took that away from you. I'm like, come on. Isaac didn't take that away from you. I mean, like, yeah, he's a Kalon, but we're going to start blaming everybody for everything everybody else has done in the past. It's ridiculous. Anyways, she's like, so we're not friends. We're never going to be friends, fucker. So don't talk to me unless it's to do work. And I'm all like, hey, that's reasonable. I'm like, I don't like to talk to my coworkers. I want to do my job and go home. That's it. Although my coworkers are very lovely. My favorite is this woman named Rosa. She's fantastic. She's the only one I would save from a fire. Anyways, so they seal up the hole and then they leave. And as they're leaving, she's like, so you're going to buy the house? She's like, we just broke up. So these guys are watching some sitcom with, I don't know this actor's name, but I like him a lot. This one's name is Johnny Knoxville. I like Johnny Knoxville. He's always fun. I like those jackass movies. I like when people do dumb stuff and make, for my entertainment. Anyways, so they get a knock at the door and he goes and he's like, no. And it's the Celine. He's all like, he's like, I'm not going with you. And she's like, you don't have a choice, fucker. I'm taking you. And so he pulls out his phaser. He's like, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. And they're like, listen, you're going back. And he's like, fine, we'll go. But I'm bringing my family with. And they're like, no, this timeline never should have existed. This whole thing should never have happened. And he's like, I'm not going. I'm like, and they're like, you're going to kill us? He's like, no, just a very strong stun. And then we will disappear so far into this timeline that you won't ever be able to find us. And they're like, fine. But this is what we're going to do, Gordon. We're going to jump back 10 years and we're going to take you then. He's like, no. He's like, don't do this. Don't do this. Please don't do this. He begs him. And I totally get it. I'm all like, this is his family. I'm like, he has a son and a child on the way and a happy life. And I'm all like, and you're just taking that away from him. And I'm on Gordon's side the whole way through. I'm sorry. I'm on Gordon's side. I'm not on their side. Those stupid assholes. And his son's all like, are we in trouble? And he's like, no. And he's like, listen, no matter what happens, nothing will change the fact that I love you. And I'm like, oh, great. What's that going to do? It's like, thanks, Gordon. You love us and everything. So then they warp back in time and they get Gordon. And they're like, he's like, what's going on? He's like, we'll talk about it later. He's like, and everything. So the thing is broken. And they're like, how do we do this? And they figure out, they come up with some BS reason of why they can jump to the future. And I'm like, whatever. It's like, it's fine. It's like they take down the bubble that stops them from like, and they move at warp speed, but while everything, they stay in like perfectly fine, but then everything travels, whatever. I don't know, man. They did a lot of talky, and I was all like, oh, this is like, it's like, I was like, I like science, but a lot of the time when people talk in science, I'm just like, I don't know what that word means. I gotta look that up. And then and then there's like, I don't know what that word means in this definition, so I gotta look that word up. I'm all like, I can learn. It's just I need time to study and everything. So then we get this beautiful Christmas light show. It's all green and red and everything, lovely. The whole time watching this, I was like, oh, those same bells, listening, and everything. So then they go back to their time, and they tell Gordon, he's like, oh, I was such a selfish asshole. And I'm all like, what? Gordon, what? No, you weren't. Stop that. You weren't being like, so sorry. You wanted to have a happy life and everything. But he's like, and you guys made such a rough decision. I'm like, not really. They really didn't make a rough decision because they don't care. They pretend like they care, but they don't. His hair looks so fake. Anyways. So they finish off a bottle or 3 of whiskey or some crap like that. And then the ship goes off into the distance and everything's A-okay and everything. And that's the end of the episode. It was, like I said, this was a good episode. I don't like time travel personally. If you do, I'm not judging. And this episode was good. I just don't like time travel. Just like but at the same time, I don't know, because I don't remember what episode it was, and I know you people are gonna be all up on my shit. But remember the episode of Voyager? It was a 2-parter, and it had Sarah Silverman, and they went back in time to the 90s, and Sarah Silverman worked at what's the thing with the telescope? Oh, what are they called? I can't remember. She's looking for UFOs, and she's all like, hey man, UFOs don't exist, but they could, or whatever. You know how Sarah Silverman, she's like, you know how she's quirky and fun and spunky and sassy and brassy and everything. And I remember, but I liked that episode. So I'm like, maybe I do like time travel. I don't know, but it was just, this was a good episode. It was fun. It was light. It was fluffy and everything with some kind of like hidden message that I just don't care about. Yeah, it was fun and it was a good episode. I liked this episode. I was afraid I wouldn't like this episode, but I did. I liked it. So yeah, that's my story. So that is my breakdown and review of this episode. I know some of you don't like my in-depth breakdowns. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. This is what I do on this channel. I guess I could condense it down to, a 10-minute review breakdown thing. I don't know, but I do what I like to see on YouTube. So if you don't like this kind of stuff, I hate to be one of those people like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. I want you to watch what I do here, but I don't know what to tell you. This is how I like to do it because I like watching videos on YouTube like what I'm doing. So I don't know what to tell you if you don't like it. I'm sorry. Out now, brown cow. I will be seeing you guys next week for Orville. Like I said, I did like this episode. I thought it was fun. Everybody's doing a good job. I thought this was a good episode. Tell me what you guys thought about this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Who's your favorite crew member? Like I said before, for me, it's Gordon. So I did enjoy this episode, seeing him. I like the actor that plays him and everything. Tell me what you guys think. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week on my breakdown and review of the Orville. You guys have a good week. Bye.